Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw, and I'm here with a familiar face if you've been watching us, Brian King, who is President, Caribbean and Latin America for Marriott International. Now, why are we talking to Brian? Because Marriott is getting much more into all-inclusive resorts. It had them before, but it just cut a deal to add a lot more all-inclusive resorts in its among its properties, and we're going to find out about that deal and more on Insider Travel Report. Now, Brian, first of all, how are you and where are you? You've moved since we last talked, right?
Yes, that is true. With my new responsibilities, I've moved to the Miami-Fort Lauderdale area, which gives me quick and easy access to the amazing 34 countries that I'm privileged to oversee. So
you're in the capital of South America there, as they call it.
I love the culture. It's just great.
It is totally different. It's a wonderful culture. Now, before we start, I do want to express our condolences on the death of your Arne Sorensen, who's the president and CEO. I've had the pleasure of meeting him a few times, and such a gentleman, such a wonderful guy, and really oversaw an amazing expansion of Marriott in the past few years. And it was so sad to hear of his passing. But we'll always remember him, and he really, again, the times I met him, he was such a gentleman and such a nice guy, and that's what I'll remember him as. But again, I know you're all grieving, and I know there's a new president now and a new CEO, and I know that you're not going to miss a beat because you got some great people on your team.
Well, James, certainly appreciate that. It goes without saying that Arne was such an incredible leader. And, there's one word I use to describe him, and that's humankind. He was both human and kind. And I think that the legacy he left is so much bigger just than Marriott. I mean, his voice on the world stage was important. It was meaningful. But it's the values of our company that will endure, and he embraced those values. And I know he had a very special place in his heart for the travel community and all of our partners. So he will be greatly missed, but I have the utmost confidence in Tony and Stephanie. I've worked with both of them for 20 years. They're seasoned professionals, and they've been with our company. They understand our culture, and they understand relationships are key to everything that we do, so with our travel partners and our customers. So thank you so much for that.
Well, we will miss him, but we will look forward to working with your new team there, which isn't that new. They're all Marriott veterans. So there's not, as I said, I don't believe you'll miss a beat because Arne was that kind of guy who created a team. Now, let's talk about what we're here for, because when we talked about last July, you were just getting into this new role overseeing Latin America and Caribbean. And, just to make it interesting for you, Marriott cut a deal, a long-term agreement with Sunwing Travel Group, and these are Blue Diamond resorts, to add 19 all-inclusive resorts totaling 7,000 rooms, more stuff for you to sell, I guess, and get going. Can you tell us a little bit about this deal and what it adds to Marriott?
I've been busy, James.
Yeah, I got with 19 resorts. You better get out there, right? You got to take a look at these.
Well, I like to say Marriott's all in on all inclusive, and I really mean that. It is a space that we've looked at for several years, and I think you know us well enough that we step methodically into a new category. And it's a category we've always been enamored with. And really, for quite some time, we've been looking at opportunities, but we just didn't find the right marriage. And I think this has been a fantastic marriage with Blue Diamond Hotels and Sunwing. Their operating expertise, the locations that they have, just fantastic, coupled with Marriott's kind of prowess and Marriott loyalty program, 147 million members, our deep distribution and connections that we have throughout the entire industry, working with travel agencies and wholesalers and the entire, group of individuals who really understand the leisure experience and all-inclusive. And I'll tell you, I think one thing, the timing on this is actually perfect. Leisure has been the one segment that is still weathered the storm of COVID quite well.
Right.
And we are seeing this increased demand and consumer drive for make it easy, make it hassle-free, especially now. Coupled with the fact The people have been, locked up, frankly,
Sure.
and they are ready to get out, and they want to go someplace with their family that they can be together, be in one location, feel safe and comfortable. And this all-inclusive partnership certainly touches each of those consumer touch points. So we're really, really excited. In addition, adding a couple new locations as well to our map.
Now, what kind of agreement is this? Could this be the stage for a deal where Marriott might purchase Sunwing or Blue Diamond, or will you just have an alliance, at least for the time being?
Yeah, so look, this is, as you know, Marriott is a quote-unquote asset-light company. So first and foremost, it's a long-term franchise agreement under the Autograph Collection. And what's really nice about this, an Autograph, we like to say Autograph exactly like nothing else. And that's what's beautiful about these hotels. They each have their own distinct personality, approach to food and beverage, exploration of the destination. And this isn't a premium luxury space. Some of these hotels have butler shirts.
Right.
So it was the perfect match for us because these hotels are not cookie cutter, nor should they be. And Autograph gives them access to being part of that great collection of independent hotels, and then certainly plugging into the Marriott systems and channels and our loyalty members.
Now, why did you move them into the Autograph Collection? I know that's your kind of place for independent hotels to be part of upscale independent hotels to be part of the Marriott group. But was this a natural fit to Autograph?
Absolutely. And as we worked with our partner, it was clear to both parties that this was the right branding strategy for them. Because some of these hotels have very independent, unique brands themselves that we don't want, they've spent years building that brand up, just kind of toss it to the side. This just puts them in that collection that they're part of a community of independent hotels. And Autograph works quite beautifully for that. So it's definitely a win-win.
Now, what are the brands? Because, Blue Diamond, from my point, it's really been very strongly focused on the Canadian market, if I recall. And although when you get down and you talk about some of the brands they own, then they suddenly become more familiar to me. But what are the brands that are part of this deal?
Yeah, so think about Wilton, for example.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking, yeah.
Yeah, and that has a lot of cachet. It always has. There's certainly opportunities with Planet Hollywood. They've had a agreement.
Another brand we sort of know about.
Right. So they were all, and then there are Blue Diamond hotels as well, too. And yes, the Canadian market has been a market, this Blue Diamond Sunwing Travel certainly owned, in addition to partnerships with TUI and the European market as well too. So it's a really nice network, and it is great leisure hotels, a great family vacation. So what's nice about what we're doing with All Inclusive is we started in 2019 where we made our announcement,
right?
And we're using specific brands all the way, including Ritz-Carlton and W and Autograph, to have hotels that fit those brand ethos. So we will definitely be doing a luxury all-inclusive experience with Ritz-Carlton, with everything that you come to expect from Ritz-Carlton, crafted, quality, bespoke. Then a Westin, we already have the Westin Playa La Conchal, and that hotel still focused on wellness, health and wellness, and we will expand that. And then Marriott and Delta hotels, for example, are going in the all-inclusive space and will be perfect for family. And then finally, last but certainly not least, is W. We will be launching W All-Inclusive, which will be adults only. So because of our existing portfolio, we have the right approach and positioning for each of those customer segments in the all-inclusive space.
Now, how will you identify, which of those brands are all-inclusive? I assume that the all-inclusive resorts obviously are going to be in vacation destinations, most of the ones you ever see in the Caribbean and Latin America. But are they all in those areas going to be all-inclusive, or just you're going to designate a couple of Westins, some Marriotts, and a Ritz-Carlton? How's that going to work?
Well, I think there's this idea of purpose-built. When you are in the all-inclusive space, we want purpose-built hotels. And an example of that is take a large property where you're going to do a bit of a retail food and beverage village just versus maybe 5 disparate restaurants, right? So, and then there is obviously a pool outdoor experience has got to be dialed up tremendously, probably larger than even traditional resorts in some ways. And then activities, music, live concerts, because it is all included.
Sure.
So the programming around these hotels will ultimately drive the physical design, which will be different. So there are hotels that can convert nicely into all-inclusive, larger rooms, ocean views, what have you. But the physicality of space is needed for the programming. So we will look very closely at a conversion to make sure it meets those needs.
Yeah, well, for example, for travel advisors, of course, they're going to have to, sort of communicate to them like which of your resorts that they know as familiar brands like Ritz-Carlton and W. They know of, actually, probably some of them know of the Blue Diamond resorts that we talked about, Royalton, things like that, and obviously Planet Hollywood down there. So how are you going to market? You're really going to have to get a bit of an education. Fortunately, you got a pretty good hotel program for travel advisors, so hopefully there'll be a new segment on all-inclusive resorts or something like that. But how how do you expect to do that to really help travel advisors understand which are all-inclusive, which are not, and what they can get?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a great network and great partnerships with all the agencies, large and small and independents, through our Marriott Travel Agency Outreach programs. We will have specific landing pages on Marriott.com dedicated to the all-inclusive segment at large, and then the brands and hotels that fall underneath that. So it'll be very easy to get the information. Obviously, GDS will be updated to make it easy to filter through as well, too. And, moving into per person and teen and child pricing, which will be certainly, as our amazing travel agency partners know, that's a clear indication that you're in typically the all-inclusive space. So, because, what's beautiful about this is, and certainly from an agency perspective, is people pay up front, right? It's kind of done, right? Your commission's is done. It's taken care of right up front. So it's a win-win for everyone, certainly a win for the customer. And when you put the Marriott name and Marriott Bonvoy in the mix, it really is a game changer. We're now I think we're number 9 in the world as far as all-inclusive supply. And to give you a point of view, there's only 325,000 hotel rooms in the all-inclusive space.
Right.
That's quite small yet. I think it's maybe 3% of global lodging supply. Yet the demand for that is exploding. And I don't think this is just limited, frankly, James, to the Caribbean, Latin America. There's definitely a need you're going to see in Europe for this. There is some all-inclusive there. There's a customer need. It will grow. I think Asia is going to be a hot market in this space. So we for Marriott, will become the center of excellence in the beginning, but very rapidly that knowledge base is going to expand, and we see this growing globally quickly.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, it's funny, when I first came into the business back in the early 90s, there were sort of 4, maybe 5 all-inclusive brands that everybody knew, the Logical Tie, Club Med and Sandals and Super Clubs and Allegro, I think were the 4 we used to deal with. And, flash forward here today, I think they're close to 50. I can't even keep count of how many different brands. So obviously this space has just exploded. And it's been a wonderful, it's a great thing for vacations. And obviously Marriott, it's hard to believe that you guys have ramped up so quickly. It seemed quickly in the all-inclusive space. I was going to tell you, it seemed like you were a little bit late to the game offering the all-inclusive resorts. Obviously other companies, Hyatt, Hilton, had sort of jumped in a little earlier. They haven't expanded as quickly as you have, though. All of a sudden, could you argue that you offer now more all-inclusive resorts than they do?
On a count basis, yes, I think I can. Well, but your point's really right on. Marriott's a company that goes slow to go fast.
Right.
We knew this category was super important. We wanted to do it right. And just, doing one hotel here or there wasn't the answer. So we've been working very diligently on the right consumer strategy, the right owner strategy, and then finding a partner. And we had been in conversation with this partner for several years, and now the timing was right. So definitely a go slow to go fast. And you're going to see us really go fast here.
Well, of course, that leads to speculation that you might try to form other partnerships with other all-inclusive companies. Could that be in the future, that you'll get not just 1 or 2 resorts here and there and convert some of your existing brands, but in one clump we'll get another 20 or 30, depending on if you have a relationship with them?
Yeah, the world is wide open in this space, and I think hoteliers today and owners are certainly seeing the power of a unified loyalty program. You know, when you're an independent hotel that might have a loyalty program, it's really hard to prove value to customers unless they just come every year and that's their habit. But we know consumers today want to have lots of choices, lots of options. And traveling around the world and all-inclusive, I can definitely see the all-inclusive passport becoming, very prevalent quickly for family travel. And, and couples. And the other thing, too, is group. Right. Incentive group planners really like this space because it's just kind of done for them, right? You might do your awards event for these incentive travelers. And then their, food and beverage is included, their events are included, their activities, it's just done. It makes that meeting planning piece quite easy. And it's also incentives for people to strive for if they're in sales or whatever their goals are to win these trips. Sure. So it's a really big space with lots and lots of opportunity. And I think opportunity for innovation, modernization as well.
No, absolutely. And indeed, I have spent my share of corporate meetings at all-inclusive resorts over the years at various different publications that I was associated with. It seemed like every other year, which all-inclusive are we going to next? It was good. It was, it's time to do a little relax, and you can, you tried to do the meetings that you had to do. But it was really a great place to have a meeting as opposed to a lot of other, areas we could have gone to. So, and you mentioned, Marriott Bonvoy, it's so key that people are always going to be looking to use their points and their stuff to take vacations. And obviously all-inclusives is such a huge category that they can now turn to with you and use for your properties, both for brands that they know and then these new brands that you've just added on to the mix. And are all those brands now added in now? Or have they been?
Not yet. Not yet. Okay. We have not done our first W all-inclusive. Obviously, we have Westin. Right. So we're excited about that. We do have some Marriott work underway. We are going to be opening a Delta hotel this year.
So that's another Canadian brand that we know of. And then the Sunwing Blue Diamond, they're are soon to be added into. So if I'm a Bonvoy member, I can access that?
That's correct. So by the end of Q2, we should have all of those hotels integrated into our systems. So you'll be able to earn and redeem points at these properties, which is pretty amazing.
So roughly by the end of this year or later this year, how many all-inclusive resorts will you have?
Well, just even stepping back a little larger, by 2025, we are right now expect to have 32. Wow. So that doesn't include, since our announcement, the amount of energy around the space and inquiries that we're getting from hotel owners. So my goal is that we do much better than that.
Yeah, well, that sounds to be what your new role is, to be zooming around the islands there and getting people interested in this. And clearly, again, it's a huge space. It seems a lot of companies are in it, but there seems to be room for growth. It's funny. It's kind of what I said about river cruising a few years ago. Like 20 years ago, everybody's like, yeah, rivers, they're just for Europeans. And now that category has absolutely exploded. All-inclusives have been exploding a lot over the last, as I said, 30 years. And it's just it's obviously a great space for you guys to be in, for Marriott to be in at this time. And you may have been, as you said, a little late to the game, but the getting in properly and getting right partners, I think, is key. And it sounds like you got a good one with Sunwing and the Blue Diamond.
Yes,
all that.
For sure.
Yeah. Now, is there anything else you want to tell our 85,000 travel advisors about the whole deal, the Sunwing Blue Diamond Resorts and the portfolio or Marriott strategy for all-inclusive resorts in the future?
I think all of us in this industry, the recovery is ahead of us. And I think the worst is behind us.
Right.
And we all need to work together to instill confidence in the category. I think Marriott's example of commitment to clean has been well received by customers. We are seeing vaccine distribution growing exponentially. So the rebound is going to be fast, which I'm excited about. So we just all need to work together to reinstill confidence in travel, because the demand is pent up and these customers are ready to break out of their four walls and see the world.
Yeah, well, and as you probably know, all these all-inclusive resorts right now have been just adding in all these testing programs to get people to come back. Although the problem is that, and then they have to put in, longer term stays. Let's just say in case somebody tests positive. To be honest with you, I'd work it out to be testing positive just so I could stay longer. I don't know.
Well, I'm not going to recommend that, but
I don't know. I was about saying, why, you wanted to test me so I can go back to work? I mean, no, it doesn't. I'll work away. I'll walk away. That's what we all should be doing now. And I have done that. I have worked away. Not that I was positive, but as you know, I was positive back in July, but hopefully that won't happen again. But Brian, any place that travel advisors can go to get more information on all this at this point, or?
Certainly at Marriott.com, and we have a section dedicated to all-inclusive, our all-inclusive website, and in Marriott.com. So we're excited. More to come.
Absolutely. Well, Brian, congratulations, first of all, your new role, where you get to be in Miami, and I'm sure zooming around the Caribbean and Latin America, that'll be a challenge, but also a little more interesting as well, I think. And congratulations on this new deal that really solidifies Marriott's entry into the all-inclusive space, and we'll look for much more to come.
Thanks, James. Good seeing you again.
I'm James Shillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.